Hello, everyone. I am Tess, founder of Tess Ventures. We're a Silicon Valley VC fund. We've been backing, supporting, investing in Web3 for the last, I would say, 8 years. We are proud investors of Zero Gravity, Aether, and Mark and the team, and Michael and the team, and very excited to learn more about all the other Web3 AI companies out there, along with everyone else that are true builders building in Web3. Um, of course, today is very special. We have an amazing panel here. I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves a little bit, and I'll circle back and ask everyone some questions. Thanks. Feel free to go ahead first.
Yeah, thank you, Tess. My name is Arthur. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Hemera. At Hemera, we're building a next generation account-centric indexing protocol that's going to turn the on-chain transaction data into one of the largest data set that's going to power next generation decentralized AI innovation. A little bit about myself. I've been working on Hemera for the past two plus years, building Web3 related to like AI. And prior to that, I spent around like 10 years building in the Silicon Valley, sold machine learning products to some of the largest enterprises on the planet. Yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Bidhan. I'm the founder of Bagel. In my previous life, I used to be the AI ML infra lead for Amazon Alexa. My team was responsible for the more 100 million plus Alexa devices around the world. It's one of the biggest machine learning systems that exist on this planet. And Bagel is an AI and cryptography research lab. We expand the capabilities of AI with cryptography. And we're releasing a lot of products. We can talk more about that later in the panel.
Hello. Sorry for having to introduce myself again. But Mark here, co-founder of Aether. At Aether, we build decentralized GPU infrastructure for gaming and AI companies. I think we try and make it easier for startups and small to medium-sized enterprises and for those building outside of the walled gardens kind of big tech to access critical compute infrastructure necessary for them to build exciting AI products.
Excellent. I was thinking maybe it would be interesting to talk about what this theme that we see at ETHCC, which almost every single event is about AI, Web3. And I know there's a lot of discussions behind the scene as to there's all these narrative and there's all these interesting, projects that are, pivoting or adding on the AI component. So the next question I'm going to ask, and we can respond to it, in the same sequence, is what's been your favorite narrative in AI? There's been so many different ones, and your favorite doesn't necessarily mean you believe that's the narrative or you think that's actually should be happening in Web3, and of course a little bit of how you want to contrast your own project to what is out there. I think this is good because at Test Venture we love backing founders that understand Web3's playbook, but it's even more better if they actually have had the experience of building in Web 2, where the rigor, and the KPIs and the expectations are very different. So I think these are very interesting times because in this cycle, there's room for both worlds to converge, and that's why we would love to hear more from all of you.
Yeah, thank you, Tess. I think that's a very interesting question, first of all, and also pretty big. So obviously, my answer is going to be a little bit biased, also related to where I'm coming from. Again, I came from a Web 2 AI background and decided to work in Web 3, and for the for the overall goal of decentralizing AI in general. So thinking about the new narratives that I think that interests me the most is in general any projects or AI projects that's actually trying to enable new AI applications or new AI scenarios. That's not, for example, solving a Web2 AI problem per se, but rather either leveraging the existing Web2 elements, algorithms, data structures, data sets, compute to create a new kind of use cases in Web3. Let me give you examples. For example, I think a lot of some of the AI projects started building kind of Web3 dedicated models or Web3 foundational models or large language models just for in Web3. I think that's, arguably speaking, not entirely in Web3, because talking about large language model, you have to think about where the training data come from, where the model itself come from. Majority of that is still with from Web2. So although you may have a token incentive in Web3, but in essence, the business problem that they are solving is still in Web2. So one good example that I would think of is, for example, if you have a completely new problem that you want to tackle in Web3, and it happens to be the problem can be solved with AI, and with a given infrastructure that we already have in Web3, that you can actually tackle it. One example, concrete example would be, for example, CBO attackers or anti-CBO attack detections. So if you look around the ecosystem, every single project is going through some sort of community growth, community building, and then eventually when they airdrop the tokens, which is a big event, a lot of the projects have a hard time fighting like bot attackers or CBO attackers. Recently, the famous Layer Zero's kind of action against CBO attackers is a good example. A lot of very good community developers, data scientists chimed in to provide solutions to deal with CBO attacks. And I think that's a perfect example of a Web3 AI use case per se, because the problem itself is not a new problem. It's from a Web2, the same problem that we faced with in Web2 era, but in a completely new setting in Web3 environment. So which means, although the problem is safe, the tools that you use, the data set you use, and also the infrastructure you are touching on is completely different. And it's definitely solving a very valuable case, which is, if you can think of it as on-chain reputation related stuff. And moving on is really, it has everything to do with, for example, security and also community building, performance marketing, everything like that. So definitely this is a kind of a good example of a new use case of AI in Web3. And this is like one of the first use case you can think of. And after, for example, after the ecosystem is good with fighting CBO attackers, and the next thing you can think of is how can we actually promote good behaviors to incentivize good users, even establish some sort of on-chain reputation, blah, blah, blah. And we can keep going on. But that's just, in my opinion, one of the example I see. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was really insightful. So about new narratives, we actually dropped one of the newest and hottest narratives during this conference this week. Are you guys ready to hear it?
Ready.
So we call it GPU risk-taking. This technology is basically we are building a platform for fine-tuning models, and we are getting GPUs from all the decentralized GPU networks and using them on our platform and letting developers fine-tune their models using those. And our launch partner was the Filecoin Foundation, so we are getting all the GPUs from the Filecoin miner network, and we're really excited about that. And we're going to continue working with other decentralized GPU networks, including Ether as well. And we basically see it as a new way of providing all these resources to the actual AI developers who are going to utilize it.
I'll give you maybe a less complex, but just something that gave me kind of like a really good feeling, right? I'm a gamer. I spoke a little bit about gaming before on my talk, and I was in one of the kind of conference rooms, in the university-esque ETHCC main hall, and I watched a video of a really cool gaming company that were just really integrating kind of AI into this MPC scenario, right? And it's not revolutionary, it's not kind of super techy, but the narrative around AI in games, I think, is just going to be so cool, right? It's surprisingly complex, right, in the sense that it's still cost prohibitive to kind of have these AI agents effectively running in behind NPC characters in games. It's not something that we can kind of do at scale yet. Latency is still a massive issue. This kind of uncanny valley scenario linking kind of how they look, between how they communicate, between how they interact with you, is still kind of, again, not solved. But gaming's had a bit of maybe a tough run this cycle. And I'm just really excited to see AI and gaming interact a little bit more, just purely from a gaming perspective. I just love the idea of the types of games we'll be able to create with the kind of the scalability and cost factors solved of integrating kind of AI agents with NPCs.
Excellent. And I think just talking from building off of what Mark just said, as investors in Aether and investors in Zero Gravity, we do think a lot about building that ecosystem in AI. We think it's important to try to own that whole stack, that ecosystem, so that the whole portfolio can actually synergize with each other. From that note, to the point about AI agent, we at Test Venture have backed Mini-Me AI Me protocol, and that's the payment infrastructure for AI agent. I think that's very interesting because there's going to be a lot of different AI projects, but it's important to identify the team that has the background to do this. And obviously, I think this is a incredible panel because they all have members on the team that actually have been in AI for a long time. That comes to say, when we talk about narrative, as you see different projects that maybe you are supporting or not supporting, it's crucial to really look at the configuration of the team. Myself, with Me Protocol, when we back that team, they all have been hardcore AI, researchers, built companies. Dr. Julia, she's one of the ones that is on, the team, is leading it, and she has tried to contribute her best in the Web3 space, and that's in the payment infrastructure side of AI agents. And that's why we feel it's exciting because, being a partner to all the different AI companies is great, as long as there's, real solid tech and experienced team. So to that point, I would love to have each of the team members talk a little bit about their team in the sense of, all the amazing people that you have on it that can represent why you each think your project, your company, is the team that's going to be able to sustain outside of this narrative-driven Web3 and be the company that you think will be adding, value and be a value creator in this Web3 AI industry. Feel free.
Yeah, I think it has. So speaking of our team, again, with Hemera protocol, we are building the next generation indexing protocol, which we call a concentrated indexing protocol. So it's a little bit abstract, but let me explain. So the protocol does is really to help developers query user-level data from different chains, different apps a lot easier. So and we did it, not because we think it's a good narrative. We actually spent years, like 2+ years, working with different developers across different geolocations, which include application developers that build games, GameFi, NFTs, SocialFi, DeFi, and also for the last year, we worked with a lot of blockchain and infrastructure builders. Yeah, so and across different geolocation and also dApp and infrastructure teams, we saw a common denominator, which is, acquiring user level or account level on-chain data at scale. And we see this part is actually underserved, such that we realized, okay, so instead of having all their in-house developers dealing with low-level RPC, node, or query raw transaction data from different chains, and dealing with data structures and juggling like data structure between EVM, Solana, or EVM, within EVM you have transaction, you have internal transaction, you have different standards, different smart contracts. All these complexities can be actually abstracted away from in-house dApp developers. So that's where we came from, and as such, we actually say, hey, we need a new set of APIs to describe account level data. And there's a whole bunch of technical discussion surrounding that. But coming back to the test question, right? Why we think we are the team, or we have the team and talents and the resources to do what we do, is mainly because, first of all, we came from a Web2 background. We build AI in Web 2 and build data infrastructure in Web 2. So we know how a machine learning and AI infrastructure or like product can actually be built in production level and serving some of the largest clients on earth. At the same time, we know the differences and advantages and disadvantages of Web3 industry. For example, one really good advantage and also disadvantage is really the blockchain infrastructure. On one side, each blockchain is an openly accessible ledger. On the other side, anybody can access it, right? So it's actually creating a lot of challenges, for example, in building a sustainable business model. But I'm not going to go to the business model. First, technology-wise, we just have all the kind of talents to figure out what's needed, and we spend the time to work with the developer, learn their needs, and eventually we figure out the solution. So, and we just happen to be the team who have the skill sets to serve different developers, figure out their solution, and build the infrastructure. So, and a little bit about myself and my co-founders. My CTO and I have been working together in different startups for the past 7 to 8 years. Previously, we graduated from Stanford. Did quite a bit of machine learning and AI project in the past as well. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So why Bagel is going to be the company who's going to make it? Because we have been kind of building with conviction since way before a lot of other projects. And we're kind of like, that's our kind of track record. We are always early in finding things. For example, we were building in crypto and AI way before a lot of other projects. Like back in end of 2022 or early 2023, when I was saying like, hey, we're building this project, we're bringing crypto and AI together. Like, what does it mean? Like, are you just putting two words together, like crypto and AI? We'd never heard this before. And now it's a mainstream thing. I personally have been doing AI since it was called machine learning, long time ago. Like my background, as I mentioned, like I was the lead at Amazon Alexa, machine learning lead. I did anti-money laundering, machine learning for Cash App. I was the data info lead for Instacart. And also moved to Web3 later in my career. I was the ecosystem lead at Arweave, the storage blockchain. And that's same for our team too. Like for example, our head of cryptography, he has been doing cryptography since even before Bitcoin was created, so before it was cool. And he has like 30 research papers that has been published. So we are a team of people who has conviction in what they're building, and we never really change it. We just happen to find ourselves in the middle of this narrative. And we believe this is the way to build whatever we're building. And even if it goes away, we're not going to change. We'll continue to build it this way. And that's how we see ourselves becoming successful.
Thank you, thank you. And of course, Mark, we backed Mark because as one of the co-founders, he has an amazing co-founding, set of co-founders who have brought on an amazing group of talented team. So we'll let Mark go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. No, we're very lucky. I think at Aether, we're less deep AI tech, more infrastructure, right? So we've been building in the infrastructure space. That's where I started my career, building large infrastructure projects in oil and gas and energy before kind of starting my entrepreneurial journey, and ended up building in the cloud gaming space and cloud infrastructure space in China. I think our team is incredible. We've got my co-founder, James, over there, who was essentially one of the founders of very early IPTV and content streaming, kind of the Netflix of China. So incredibly successful team from a content distribution and network perspective. Our CTO was the founder of Verizon Media and CEO of Edge Gravity, one of the biggest edge computing networks in the States, and was also the chief network officer for Ericsson Cloud. So we're very lucky with the team we've managed to pull together. Our CEO, my great friend and co-founder Dan, really brings the gaming side to the ecosystem as well. He was the COO of Riot Games, head of publishing and global distribution for League of Legends, oversaw Riot Games for their acquisition by Tencent. So yeah, massive team building in the infrastructure space, and we're just lucky and excited to be a team that's learning alongside kind of players like yourselves who are doing really cool things in the AI space.
So I have a question. Like, what's the requirement for the team? Everyone has to be a gamer to join?
100%. And if you can beat me in Call of Duty one-on-one, you can become a co-founder.
Excellent, excellent. And I do want to say, I'm sure all of you guys have amazing strategic investors on our cap table. Us at Test Venture, we truly do build alongside with the founders. So that's why, obviously, I have gotten to meet Mark and James through Dan, who is also a very good friend. And I know these founders. Most of the companies that we backed at Test Venture, if you just, feel free to check out our LinkedIn, our website, testventure.xyz. We known them before they started companies. So that's why we're very grateful, to obviously have known, the whole Aether team. And also, before they were Aether, and then later, of course, the same with Monad, the same with Eigenlayer. All of these, amazing portfolios, Animoca, Yatsu, are just really good friends that we believe in. And we really think, the best in this journey of startup that has so much highs, so much lows, is look for those strategic investors and advisors that's going to back you through the highs and the lows. For us, we built the best journey in friendship with all our portfolios during the bear market. Like when all the other investors that said they were going to do X and Y and Z, they disappeared, or they actually were not acting in the best interests of the founders. So that's where a lot of these deep conversations evolved. And we're excited. For us, we don't know if it's a bear or bull. We just look up, oh, it's a bear. And it's like, okay, we're just going to keep doing what we do. So our team of 10 is very, just excited. We're all builders, investing in builders. So we're happy to, absolutely chat offline. Having said that, I think, I don't know how much more time we have. I just want to make sure. Does anyone know? Okay. We wanted to talk a little bit about the trends currently in how AI impacts interoperability and scalability solution. And maybe each of us can touch on it a little bit because there's a couple of more questions that we have generated since, I know everyone has a lot of insights into it, but feel free.
Yeah, so again, I think crypto AI right now is generally pretty nascent. But definitely seeing a lot of development towards toward improving the user experiences, which definitely touches upon kind of interoperability and account abstraction, intents, AI agents, stuff like that. But I would love to see better user experiences, where AI plus intent, well, intent is a buzzword, right? But it's really AI augmented user experiences, so that when user especially users who are not familiar with every single ecosystem, infrastructure ecosystem, every single account system, every single chain per se, AI can actually help them navigate through this jungle of information. And then on top of that, there's liquidity, security, trust, discovery issues compounded with the underlying kind of a complexity. I think all of that can be facilitated by some sort of AI in general. Yeah.
Yeah, interoperability is very important for sure, and that's the superpower of Web3 in general. We enable composability, and then different protocols were working on different layers of the stack. They can come together and work. Like as I mentioned earlier, like we're doing the GPU restaking, and we're working with other decentralized GPU networks to provide that solution to our developers. That's a really good example of doing that. And that's why we decided to build in the Web3 space using this technology. And that's, like in short, that's Web3 superpower.
Yeah, I think, funnily enough, it's Web3's superpower, but it's also our biggest failing as well, right? Because we're so complex, right? I think we talk about kind of the user experience being so difficult to kind of overcome as a new user, as a new entrant into Web3. We've got all these different chains, different layers. Bridging tokens is a challenge, and it's like a maze that new users need to navigate. And what's kind of really interesting about AI and these on-chain agents and the technology that's kind of coming down the pipeline is the ability to just abstract away that complexity, right? It's not complex really for an AI agent to kind of transit your token through that maze to get to kind of the end result. It's complex for the kind of the human brain. It's complex for a new user. But you know, we're on the cusp, very potentially, of kind of a Web3 ecosystem that's post-complexity, right? We'll always have gas fees, right? But you know, again, AI agents and better protocol management might be able to kind of really bring those down. But we could very well be at a place where, you know, wallets and kind of user accounts come attached to small agents that really help us navigate these difficult transactions, and at the same time notify us of, you know, potential bad actors and smart contracts we might want to avoid on the ecosystems too. So I think AI is going to help bring a huge amount of value to kind of interoperability within the broader ecosystem, you know, over, in particular, the next like 3 to 6 months.
Excellent. And I'm just going to keep going because I think it sounds like everyone's interested in more things of what the panel can share. So the next question I have is, as a Web3 AI, you know, project or founder in AI, I mean, we're seeing here, I'm sure some of you guys are serving the traditional Web2 market as well. But from the Web3 AI side, if asking each of you guys as, you know, founders, co-founders, core team members, if you had to have a genie in a bottle and ask for help for any area, what do you think that would be? And I ask this as, you know, maybe someone in the audience can help. Like, which part is it that you guys are looking for, you know, ask for help? You know, it could be anything from community, more strategic investors, advisors, whatever it may be. I think that'll be interesting because clearly we're all at different stages. But, you know, I think it'll be very interesting for the audience to hear. Feel free.
I just want to clarify the help meaning what kind of
Whatever you need focus on right now, like which stage you're at, or, you know, people in the audience. That's what I love about the Web3 community. Everyone's willing to lend a helping hand, so you can ask for anything. You know, think of it as a genie in a bottle.
Yeah, so project or direction-wise or industry-wise, I think my biggest need as a founder and also, you know, same shares with and some of my colleagues and friends share the same view, is that we actually need a more kind of established AI founders and also investors or experts from the Web2 and related industry to actually contribute to the Web3 AI in general. Because, you know, let me just play out loud. I think I wouldn't expect some sort of Web3 OG to build the next generation decentralized AI, just period. Because if you think about blockchain and AI technology, fundamentally it's very different. So, and today, at the velocity of you know, how AI is evolving, at the same time, considering, you know, on another dimension, how blockchain technology is evolving and trying to scale itself, it's really hard for somebody who doesn't have any established, you know, AI experiences to actually lead the innovation in Web3 AI. But on the other hand, me as a kind of a younger AI crypto founder, you know, my true conviction is, and I keep telling the same thing to my fellow Web2 AI startup founders and experts. I keep telling them, hey, if you think about the outcome or the best outcome or best kind of direction that AI in general is heading to, is actually definitely crypto. So whenever who can actually solve this crypto plus AI puzzle that in the best way, I think there's huge opportunity for many reasons. One of the biggest reasons is really with centralization or data sovereignty. For example, me as a founder, as a project, you know, as a CEO of Hemera, the single most important problem that we care about is really how to decentralize data ownership and make that a reality. Because it's important in the sense that any sort of AI is inherently powered by data. So the way I think of, you know, the future decentralized AI is definitely, it has to start from the data sources. And if you look at blockchain, you know, we're just very lucky to have everything, you know, on chain as a democratized data set, which is exactly why I think if you ask me, or if you ask me to convince some sort of Web2 AI experts to join Web3, I would keep telling them, hey, blockchain fundamentally changes what the ultimate, you know, disease that's actually plaguing Web2 AI, which is centralization, and blockchain actually democratizes that at a very foundational level, which is data ownership. And on top of that, there's models or decentralized models or decentralized agents or decentralized AI, whatever you want to call it, can be built on top of that, and which is gonna leverage a lot of decentralized computing power brought by Aether and many other, deep in network. Yeah, that's just my 3 cents.
Excellent.
Can I ask a question? So you've got some cool projects out there like Morpheus, right? Really kind of AI focused, but like crypto OGs building it, right? I almost think like when you start to gravitate towards these like really like fundamentally decentralized at their core initiatives, right? They do tend to be kind of more crypto OGs, right? It's almost like decentralization as a challenge itself, and then like there's the AI challenge. What do you think about that?
I'm not too familiar with Morpheus, but I'm saying this out loud mainly because I see more kind of I see two sides of the voice, right? Like on one side, within crypto, there's a lot of Web3 AI going around. At the same time, some projects, at least based off their kind of the direction and narrative they're talking about right now, it doesn't really show the value yet, except for the team behind it is kind of crypto OG. And when these news, are seen by Web2 investors or Web2 AI founders, they instantly think this is some sort of crypto related scam like project, which I think is definitely a lot of bias on the first order of magnitude. And I'm pretty sure with a lot of really top tier projects out there, right, with the amount of resources they have and experts in crypto, they are able to recruit really good AI talents. But I would love to see more real values, real problems, real products, right? Actually functioning in crypto AI, delivering value, attracting users, serving some sort of problem. And when that happens, I think it's ultimately really good for the whole industry, not just Web3 AI niche sector, but for Web3 in general, and also for Web2 AI in general, because that's gonna change a lot of people's biases, upfront, right? And at the same time, it's gonna, hopefully attract a lot of younger generation AI machine learning enthusiasts to join Web3. Instead of them going to Google, Nvidia, Facebook, and join the old Web2 army, right? I think that's gonna fundamentally move the needle.
Excellent.
Whereas, yeah.
Great insights. Since we have 2 more minutes left, I just want to make sure some of the others can.
Yeah, I'll go quickly. I'm not gonna join that conversation because it's a whole different kind of form, which I don't want to open. I'm gonna talk about what we are looking for. We're looking for 3 things: developers, developers, developers. We launched an early closed beta of our platform last week, and we are in a fortunate place to have a lot of interest from Web2 AI developers. We have more than 24,000 developers on our platform, no incentives, anything. And we want to get it to 24 million. And that's a big number we have to cover. So we need more developers on our platform. We have a wait list on our Twitter, bagel_network. Sign up, and we'll get you in.
Excellent. Mark?
Yeah, I guess maybe a higher order of magnitude kind of request to what you mentioned. I'd love to see more AI applications that have kind of real use cases out there, people that are pushing forward with their project to the extent that they're actually buying compute, actually kind of delivering on something cool. I'd love to see more of that.
Yeah, just want to follow up on that. Mark kept mentioning about the game. Personally, I've been a gamer since three. When I was 3 years old, I started playing games. So definitely, democratizing compute has a lot of impact on gaming, and gaming is a really good use case of real use cases using decentralized GPU, and hopefully more of the AI compute can actually be built on top of something that Aether is building.
Yeah, totally agree.
So, to just kind of conclude, speaking from an investor perspective, we usually have heard a lot of requests from our own portfolio company or from friends, more fundamental process for all the builders out there or even investors. Most founders, work so hard and they're building, they're fundraising, and they're executing and launching, what generally we've heard is by the time it hits the TGE side, that's the part that's challenging and it's very opaque. So they ask for recommendations to market makers, or they ask for recommendations into people who can guide them. And I'm sure everyone knows the usual market makers out there. And I think it's interesting to really do your research. Really ask other founders their experience. That will help you. And I think, we ourselves have already invested in so many companies, have so much experience. Obviously, we have our views. We're happy to share for anyone who, is looking for this. That's why, I asked the projects and the founders here, what they are interested in asking for help. But that's usually been, the most high demand area that we've been, asked as investors, who would we recommend? So, that's just something that, everyone can think about. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.